Hi, Liam Ward here at LearnTheHarmonica.com. Leaving space is really crucial for any musician. I'm going to be talking about how to do that specifically for harmonica today. For me, I'm a blues player, but this applies to any type of playing. It's really true, the old cliche in music, that the space between the notes is just as important as the notes themselves. And the reason for that is that we need to process the music as a listener, and we need to have time as a player to think about our playing. Music should be a conversation, and it should be a language rather than just noise. And if you're playing non-stop, it doesn't matter how technically interesting that is, the listener won't be able to process it. So if you're just playing notes constantly, I'm on a C harmonica by the way, it becomes a bit too much after a while. If you get it's so annoying. But play similar phrases and leave some space, and it starts to sound quite cool. That's better at least than the previous part. And the only difference is space. I've not sort of massively changed the things I'm playing themselves. I've just kept them apart, and it means you can process it, and it means it isn't so overwhelming as a listener. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some approaches to leaving space. The first approach I want to discuss is forcing yourself to leave a certain amount of kind of musical time, musical space, after a phrase before you play the next one. Now, you would be specific with this, so you might say a bar. I'll leave a bar. I might play for a bar, rest for a bar. Play for a bar, rest for a bar. Something like that. So I'd count a phrase, I'd play over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rest for 2, 3, 4. Play 2, 3, 4. Rest 2, 3, 4. And because I'm having to count that, I can't play over it, and it just forces me to leave space. And also what this does is it creates kind of an even spacing of playing and gaps. So it means you've got quite a nice set out of licks and riffs, and you haven't got them clumped together and then massive spaces. It doesn't have to be a bar. You could do it with shorter things. You could do it with just a couple of notes. Or you could extend it to a couple of bars. So I might play 2 full bars. So I'll play for 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, and then rest 2, 3, 4, rest 2, 3, 4. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Now, the bigger spaces you leave, the more sparse it is, of course. But if you're playing with a band, that isn't such a problem because there's all the stuff going on behind you. There's the bass, the drums, the guitar, maybe keyboard, whatever, brass instruments. There's loads of stuff filling that space. If you're playing a solo thing, by which I mean completely unaccompanied, kind of sitting on the porch sort of style playing, you don't want to leave a huge amount of space. That said, it's not a problem to leave space. It can be very tempting if there's nothing else there to still want to fill all the space you can. But you don't need to. You really don't need to. It's absolutely fine to leave those notes hanging in the air and just have silence. It takes some confidence, but it's really worth working on. So that's one way of doing it. Force yourself to leave a specific length space. This is before you've just got used to the idea of space, so you're kind of teaching yourself by having a structure to it. Another way to do these things is to only allow yourself a certain amount of notes. So our approach might be, I'll only let myself play 4 notes, and then I have to leave a gap. Or I'll only allow myself to play 3 or 2 or 1 note. And just see what happens, but force yourself to stop after those notes. So say I say 4 notes. I've had to stop already. I've had to stop. I mean, it really forces you. Just got to take a break. And I'm not saying how long a break I have to take. I'm tending to take a bar there, but you don't have to. You know, the breaks could be different lengths, and it would also depend on if you are playing with other instruments, well, what are they doing and how are you going to respond to that? But if you're playing solo, it's completely up to you. You can leave as much space as you like. But that would be another way of doing it. Instead of how long you're leaving a gap, it's how many notes am I allowing myself to play before I force myself to leave a gap. We've got a couple more approaches here. The third one would be to imagine yourself singing a line back, okay, to something you played. So you play something and you sing a line back. You can imagine it, or you can actually really sing it back. So you might play do ba da ba da ba ba da ba 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 do da da ba da ba da ba da ba ba bum ba 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 boo da da ba and a ba and a ba. I mean, it's all nonsense, really, but it's really useful for making you leave space. And you can do it all in your head. I mean, I'm singing them out so you kind of know what's going on in my head, but that could all be going on in my head. If you're with a band, you might actually have a guitarist do that. It's a common thing for a trade-off, a call and response between two instruments. Likely with a blues band that you would have it harmonica and guitar doing it. It works really well, and again, it's a way of forcing yourself to stop. They're going to start playing, so you've got to stop. That's one other way of doing it. And finally, it might seem a bit silly to even say it, but put the harmonica down. I mean, if these first 3 steps aren't doing it for you, and you're still finding you're filling the space, put the harmonica down. Do it between, force yourself to just put it down and then pick it up again to play. So I can't play when it's not there, and then I'll pick it up again. Put it down. Can't play it. I'm dropping it on the floor. And one more, leaving a gap. That's kind of an extreme response, but if the others haven't worked, that will hopefully help you. It's really, really important, or at least it really, really helps with your playing if you're able to leave space. And if you can get into the habit, it sort of makes playing easier, because one of the problems that beginners have when they start performing is they want to fill all the space, and that means more ideas and less time to think about those ideas. So if you leave yourself space, you're actually meaning you have to play less, you get a break, you get thinking time, which is all crucial for creating really good music. I hope these tips on leaving space have helped you today. I'm going to be back soon with another lesson, and I take requests, so please leave a comment beneath this video, or you can email contact@LearnTheHarmonica.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. We've got a lovely community there of players and learners as well, so do join us there to discuss more harmonica topics. Until then, enjoy your playing, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.